one of the most comforting aspects that I've learned in my walk with God, and it just keeps being emphasized over and over and over and over again to me, is that we were created at when time began, when God created humanity, when God created Adam and Eve. He didn't create us to take care of ourselves, but He did create us with a free will. And what I've learned in God's desire to take care of us, to take care of every need that we would ever have, to even take care of the wants that we would ever have, to even take care of the dreams that aren't even overtly spiritual. He has already provided that before the foundation of the earth. But one of the things that I've learned in cooperating with God's care of us is the power of surrender. Over 20 years ago, I've told this story sometime, but it just has defined my life, obviously. Over 20 years ago, I'm in a meeting, I'm in an evangelistic meeting, and I remember so distinctly that if I didn't make a choice that night to surrender to God, I just had the sense that somehow my life would not be as God intended it to be. And I remember with God's help, I stood up and I just said, God, I give everything to you. Everything is yours. And as soon as I stood up, I knew that the Lord was going to send me around the world preaching the gospel. I had never even imagined that I would be a preacher. I've always said that I always thought most preachers that I knew were weird, especially traveling preachers. But when I stood up, it was like this gift of faith came on the inside of me, and I knew that this was part of God's great purpose for my life here upon the earth. And I've learned it just wasn't that day 20 years ago, but I've learned over and over again that discovery is hidden on the other side of surrender, because we were never created to take care of ourselves. And Peter commands us, the Apostle Peter commands us in 1 Peter 5:7 that we cast all our burden upon the Lord. And in Matthew, when Jesus walked this earth, He said, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." But our responsibility in that is to surrender. I surrendered 20 years ago, and I began to understand a part of my destiny. But I've learned in walking with God and allowing Him to take care of me, I have to completely surrender day after day after day after day. And the wonderful thing about God, I've said this so many times, is that what He asks us to do, and that is to surrender. He gives us the power to do, but He also gives us a choice. So I just so encourage you today that make the daily choice to surrender. And one of the ways that I do that is almost on a daily, if not weekly basis. I just write in my journal, God, I surrender to you. I surrender to your care. I surrender to your word. I surrender to the provision that you gave for me before the foundation of the earth. So today, in the name of Jesus, I bless you to agree with God's power on your behalf, to surrender to every part of your life. And I'm telling you, it is the abundant life that He's given us. It's a joy to surrender to Him on a daily basis, and it's a joy to walk out His kingdom here upon the earth.